opportunity to practice, but I think...
You thought about it?
Yeah. I don't think I'll think it's a lot of that thing I was doing when rotating on my fourth finger. I was straightening, but I think I won't
yeah, okay, that's fine. So as you know, Goncalo is a jazz pianist.
Yeah.
Did you start also play classical music? A long time ago, yeah.
Yeah. But I just think it's good to start playing like a piece with there. It helps.
I like it's a piece, it's a private piece, you know, that and this is where you work out the skills. And I find with jazz pianists on the whole, that then what we do transfers, because it's the same, you know, same harmonies or melodies or whatever, but the skills are exactly the same. And I do ask to bring, you know, things, typical things that will bother them, you know, certain scales, certain fingerings, they become more specific.
Yeah.
And what is wonderful, developing a technique for jazz pianists is they're writer, if they're improvisers, most are, that they improvise with their capabilities. When they become better, they begin to add so many other elements, it becomes, you know, compositionally much richer. We don't have that privilege, you know, we have to stick to the notes, you know, but there is, you know, there's a good thing, so it's good to have that discipline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, one thing that I've noticed is when I'm playing the E major, sometimes, like if I play quickly, I don't hear it very much, but the connection between the second and the third finger, because of the in and out, is not, like the legato is not as, I don't know, like...
I would say that it's not legatissimo, but it should feel legato. You see, I started talking about boundaries in legato. Sometimes we never overlap because then we don't release over, you know. But there are degrees. The interesting thing is, so there are places that I would say probably not as legato as others, but they should feel legato enough. I call it legato enough. They should be up in the air.
Yeah.
You know, so let's see what happens here. Also, I'm not seeing your thumb moving behind the second. Yeah. Right, because the arm immediately moves better. Exactly. Good. I would actually, when you get the second finger, you know, we don't do this. You know, what we taught the thumb here, it's an isolation, it's going to extreme range of motion, and it also, first of all, this is, by the way, string players, so hold the bow. I don't know why very often they're told to put the thumb. There's no logic either. You know, where the fourth finger is, and they injure it, because you'll do that and you'll injure the thumb. You can never go to extreme range of motion. All it needs to be is between, you know, the second and the third, or their first and second finger. But we're moving here, you know, this whole system of moving with the form and everything, so as we move quickly also, the thumb has to go behind the second finger. The arm is moving. When you go to the 3, the thumb has to turn, go to the right, in order to be able to come to the left, and that helps move the arm more automatically also. Scales, arpeggios. The 2 and the 3 sound legato to me, they feel legato to you. That's what I said about leaps. It's not, if we tested it, the reality, when we go a distance, it's not legato the same as when you go to the next, you know, a note apart, a third apart, a fourth apart, but it feels legato. So that's the other interesting thing in this, where we have to feel legato, the fact that, you know, a machine that will test it will say, you know, somewhere that thumb lets go, but we should not feel. So it's an interesting thing, what we should feel, the reality, you know, of what is happening and what we should feel to make it successful.
Okay.
That's very good.
Okay. Yeah, because I was worried it might be like incorrect.
You think I'm staying here, the arm comes out, and again, those motions are so quick, and the 2 is there. Sometimes people overhang because they want legato. You don't even see it, but somehow they can't get out. So I always say, the moment you get to the 3, make sure the 2 is right next to you.
Yeah.
It's very hard to accept, I would say, rationally, that there is a legato that underneath somewhere lets go at some point. But that's not what is important. Important is what we have to think to make it successful. So still feeling legato. Very good. So if the thumb just behind.
Yeah, I need to remember. Okay, left hand. Sometimes. I think it's a problem. Like sometimes this crossing.
Sometimes talk without playing.
Sometimes when I do the crossing.
Yes.
There's a tendency, I think, to curl a bit these fingers because of the
arch.
Yeah,
because of the arc. So when we move in and out on white keys, you know, we move in and out in order for the fingers not to curl a lot, because as you've heard a million times, the moment we curl a little bit, it pulls on the long muscle, it tightens us. Even if you know nothing about muscles, you know, we feel a little bit tighter. So the thing is to give, you're doing it so well between the G sharp and the B. You're coming out and you're doing great. This is smaller.
Okay.
Think the same. In other words, you have to keep the finger preparatory motion. The fingers are where the second finger landed. It's in the second part. But you're doing the 2 to 3 perfectly, and it's more out.
Okay.
What are you thinking there? Same thing. Do the same thing there. It's smaller than out to the 3. Try that.
Okay.
So what he's feeling, he's already very sensitive. He's had a whole bunch of lessons with there. He's feeling a little bit. Are you feeling that you're curling a little bit, or are you worried that you're curling?
No, I see it sometimes, and sometimes I feel a slight, not the way I feel with my right hand, like
okay, so maybe the left hand is a little retarded. Yeah, okay.
It is actually.
Sometimes we have to
pianist problem.
You know something? You have to give the left hand the same attention. It could be that you start with the right hand and giving a lot of attention, but in the end you have to give the same attention, or it's a little bit behind.
I don't, because I really don't do the same things.
You have to do the same things from now on.
But
if you want to get the same results.
True. When I practice the technique, yes, but in my repertoire, I rarely do the same kinds of things. It's a lot of chords with my left hand, or walking bass, but not scale passages.
So you spend 5 minutes a day. Yeah. You know, we don't need those hours and hours of scales. You know, we just have to learn how to do a few scales, and we have scales. So yeah, so I would spend a few minutes a day. Give it 5 minutes.
But do like.
Let's say. Did you feel any curling?
No, maybe the 4.
Well, I don't know. You know,
when
I would move a little bit out to the 4.
Okay.
The 4 also in C major. The 4 before the 1 also moves.
Okay.
But you know, the 3 can move a tiny bit more.
More out.
Yes. Out.
Out. Always out. Okay.
It gives it space. Very good.
Easier.
And if you have some kind of a doubt, let's say in speed, isn't it too much in and out? The interesting thing is we don't exaggerate. We should not exaggerate the in and out like we do the rotation at the beginning. It has to come to exactly to the right place, and you can feel where it feels right. In speed, if we don't do it, and the fingers curl and it's a little bit tight, that gets in the way of speed. There is time when it's the in and out is combined with the rotation. It gives the space to move, and it moves very quickly. That was very good. Out on the 4.
On the front. And the 3.
Very
I need to come out enough.
And the thumb behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was holding a bit the upper arm, but I know.
Right now?
I noticed slightly.
Do you want to
try? A little bit this.
Like that. Okay. Make sure, so you move a little bit to the left as you cross, because you know when you're crossing, it puts that arm a little bit more in this position.
Yeah.
It's not like just going 5 fingers. So you have to go with it at some point in the keyboard. If you keep going left and you feel like you're falling off, you know there's in and out of the torso also, that you move a little to the left and then there's a tiny bit of a forward.
Okay.
At some point, it minimizes the sideways,
Okay.
so you don't fall off. Yes.
Kind of, okay.
Yes, you want to try again?
Yeah. I think actually I think I was moving my torso, but I wasn't after I crossed, I kept like.
You kept, you didn't come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't come back.
You see, self-diagnosing. That's what happens, and that's the good thing, that you begin to understand what you're doing, how to control it, and what is still not working to bring it. How's that?
Actually, yeah, it was not that bad.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
Was it pretty bad?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
good. It was good. Just some question.
Yes.
I think I know how to do it. But
Yeah.
So even though the arm does a bit like this,
What happens when we get to the thumb?
It's
The torso,
continuous, right?
the torso keeps going to the
Keeps
left.
going. It's just
It doesn't go back to the right when you rotate to the right on the thumb. People do that. They go
I haven't done this.
But what happens is, if the rotation is working like that, but we continue going like that. Yeah.
So there's
It's a very common human behavior. That's how you learn to anticipate some of the behaviors. That's what was over the years a breakthrough for me, and that's what I teach the teachers also. What to expect. Because we are built the same. Because the brain is basically, we're basically the same. It's logical that some of the behavior will be the same, right? And that's what happens. It never occurred to me before. But then I see it, it's not the same thing. Okay, now I know how to anticipate. I tell the teachers, when you show this, anticipate that this may happen. When you show this, anticipate that this can happen. Because most of the time it happens, and if it does, you say, oh, somebody's looking out for me. Okay, what's the next thing?
Maybe one thing, I don't have it written, it's like an arrangement I did a few weeks ago, but
Okay.
maybe I can explain.
Sure, and you stop where you have the question.
I'll just do that section.
Okay.
It's the part where I do like this. Now it works.
Now it works.
Okay. Sometimes it doesn't work like 100% of the time. Like sometimes it's not.
It's not like that, and you wonder why.
A few, I don't get it right. I
So the question, what happens? Physically, you feel okay. I have a feeling that maybe physically you're okay. Maybe something in the repetition going up. I'll tell you what the first thing that occurs to me. It may not be the answer. He's going left area, right? And then area, and then area. I would group it.
Okay.
Like left to right, one group. Left to right, the next group. Let's see if that does it, and if there's something more.
Okay, so.
I would do it even a little bit faster,
Right.
just think.
This.
Do you see what happened? How's
It's
that?
easy to play on this piano. Maybe am I stretching? I think I'm stretching it.
That's very possible. Let me just try it.
Good.
Okay, so here comes, so that may not be the solution, that may be something that helps. I would think about it, but now, what does it say? Yeah, that's what it is. You worked in the rotation, right? Okay, it's a little bit of an open situation, but get a little bit more of a shape, okay? A little bit higher, and underneath still make sure that even when it's very small, there is a double. It's another shape. Don't get too low on the 5. Get higher on the 2, 3.
Okay.
Right. Right, get higher, it will open it up. One second, I want to see it. You go into inside. I'm staying more in the edge. Makes a big difference also. Okay, you going in, and that creates a bit more of a stretch. Right, no, you do it. I'm just keeping your arm here.
Okay.
Right. You're going too far that way. How's that? Yeah, get a bit higher. Right, but getting higher doesn't always mean go in. That's another thing that is very human and sometimes not useful. That when we get higher, we always want to go in. Just get higher. You have long fingers on the right. But again, go forward. Right. Right. And then tiny down. Right. How's that? Don't go again. Yeah. Stay it out. Right.
It's
counterintuitive. And by the way, that's something to watch. A lot of what works and what ends up feeling natural is counterintuitive. Which is very interesting because we talk so much about nature. You know, talking about nature doesn't mean what we do, that we actually have the right instinct to do things naturally. Why are so many people injured? So I've come to the conclusion that nature very often, most of the time, has to be learned. Has to be learned. Nature really works with that, with rotation. But we go, you know, we're told, isolate your fingers. That is so anti-nature, and then you put something that's natural. At the beginning it feels strange.
Yeah.
And then it feels, one of the first things people say, oh, it feels so natural. But it took some learning.
Yeah.
You know? So the fact that naturally we want to move in here is not good for the passage. You know? Hardly any movement. Right. How's that?
I have to get used to the feeling.
Yeah.
It's really different.
And the high point is between the 2 and the 3. Yeah. Right. And it doesn't go very low. It just comes down a little bit. Everything is very small. Very good.
I need to get used. It's really different from what.
Yeah. Good. Very good. And then you make sure also when you go from one to the other, when you play the 5, it sends you to the 1.
Okay,
It's a small rotation that sends the form across. But not in the air. Yeah. And it's not a big rotation. When the rotation is combined with the walking hand and arm, it becomes very small. That's it. Right.
Okay.
If you rotate too much, we stay in the same spot. Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Need to get used to that.
It's all combinations.
On
yeah.
the left hand, is there some kind of shaping maybe?
Do it again.
It's like just.
I would be inside. You're starting out, going in. I would be in, staying in.
And not.
You know? Right. You know something? If the 5 and the 1 are on black keys, those are the 2 short fingers. 2, 3, and 4 are inside. If you're starting here, so we don't create in and out. In and out is a necessity. But when all you do, and also get used to the second finger is all the way in. If you take it as a chord, take it as a chord for a moment. That's what the second finger is to be. Not do it. Then you have very small rotation and hardly, you know, in and out. How's that? How's that? Now you're 2 out already. Yeah, what you want to watch is not for the thumb to be more in. The thumb is perfectly happy right here. The second finger and the 5 have to be in the right place to accommodate the thumb. Yeah. Right. There you go. How's that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Good.
Very good. What else?
I haven't in the same.
Okay.
I get a bit from.
How that started?
Just need to remember.
You're twisting between here and here. This is a twist.
Okay.
Your 5 needs to be all the way in, not to twist. The 5, take the last 2 notes. No, you did D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you start inside?
Okay.
How's that?
Good.
You see, sometimes there are times when we should be already in. It's not always. Sometimes we move, you know,
Good.
in and out.
Yeah, I never thought of the past.
I know you did. So that's what happens. So we twist, and then we think that's natural.
Okay.
It's not natural because it hurts.
Interesting.
Even, I would be here. You still like making things in and out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Time inside, you see? Start going in. Yeah, just when you have a little bit of walking. Right. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Nice.
Very good.
Okay. Is there time?
Yes. You have 5 more minutes.
Let me see. There are some parts in this arrangement that also are not completely comfortable. Let me see.
So start again. Okay, so start like that.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah. So, you know, we have to have in our mind the things, how to make things easy, even if you're not sure what to do. You know, he's starting here, and there's a huge in, and he wonders why it's... But that comes from, again, being told very often not to be in the black area.
Yeah.
It's like the dangerous...
Mm.
It's
There's
full of
still-
mines, you know? And when we have now, if the form is not connected, it's going to feel bad. If they know rotation and in and out, you feel stuck between the keys because they're thinner. But when you have all those motions, and some piano builder didn't make them, you know, close and smaller, which is really not good, you can play in and it positions the fingers perfectly. And there's very little movement. Of course it feels more comfortable. Make sure that you're not going this way. First of all, the 5 is it's going to be a little bit of a bigger rotation. Get a little bit higher here. Right, and the thumb is here. Right, how's that? Yeah, start the thumb in a place that is not too out.
Okay.
And right here, much more in. There you go.
Yeah, this one, it's better.
You know, jazz pianists don't have to bend, but they often do.
I don't want that.
I know. So, you know, when you do the chord, it's just time, yeah, it's bangy, and then you begin to hear some who don't bang, you know. And you know, just slow down the keys a little bit. With the form, without dropping, you'll get a bigger sound. Release it out. And listen, you can even get it if you want more singing, you slow down. Yeah, it's not slowing down, putting it, it's within still gravitational. You know, it's like falling down a little bit slower. You have the resistance, yeah. But you have to listen that you get, don't come so much from above. Feel how you're putting the keys down. Right, good. Without this dropping. Yeah. You're not familiar with this feeling. Sometimes when the hands are open, I saw him the other day, we get flattened. Naturally, you know, the hand gets flattened, but sometimes it goes beyond. We call it a collapse already, it's like a break, which happens with him. So when I tell him, so the answer is not to hold it up, which often we taught, that pulls things up, limits the mobility of the fingers, but it's just a feeling that this is just not going beyond a certain point, that it feels solid and it feels the fingers connect to the head. Yeah, it's a small difference, but all the small difference are life-shattering, you know. The consequences are huge, one way or another. Doing great.
Good. So just, it's over, right? Yeah, because maybe just another sentence regarding like playing.
You have to check with...
Yeah,
with
just ask.
No, okay.
So
no, just if you can say another, like
chord.
anything else regarding what you just said.
Just calm down, the hand also comes down, form the hand, and just make sure, you felt the difference between when it collapsed
Okay.
and when the bridge didn't collapse. It just stops where...
Collapse, I think I get it. The first thing you were talking about, like going slow.
Yeah, it takes a little bit more. Look, when you go like that, that's what you get. That's what I call, when you go beyond a certain speed into the key, you get a very harsh sound, and also you feel that it hits you back. Every action has a reaction equal enough. It hits you. And it has even more serious consequences when we go single notes and speed, it also gets in there. So at least go to the degree that doesn't feel that it's, that it's hitting you back, and keep listening.
Okay.
So this takes, it's going beyond, the whole issue of sound depends on the solidity, the freedom, and then the other things, yeah. Listen to it and see that you don't get that impact.
Okay.
Okay? Very great.